Hi, my name's Maliha. I'm a first year medical student, and this is all the stuff that I would be doing if I had 5 months left until my GCSEs. Like you guys probably do now. Let's get straight into it. So, the main priority that you guys should be focusing on right now, in my opinion, is filling in your content gaps. You should obviously be revising the stuff that you're going over, but the main priority is filling in the gaps. It's like you're driving down a road. What are you going to do first? Are you going to fill in the potholes and the cracks in the road first, or are you going to paint the road? Obviously, you're going to fill in the cracks first because there's no point in making a nice fancy looking road if there's holes. On top of that, alongside your content gap filling, do some light past paper revision on the side as well to build up your exam technique, but I'm going to be getting into more detail with that a bit later. And while you fill in your content gaps, start making revision resources. Those are your three main things to focus on. So let's start with content gap filling. What you can do to kind of figure that out is, for each subject, find the specification online for your exam board. For example, if you're doing AQA biology, then go online and search up GCSE AQA biology specification, and you should be able to find it as a PDF online. And then go through every topic, and then you can make a list of stuff that you are unsure about, or stuff that you think you need to go over again, or stuff that you have no idea what that is. And do that for every subject. So by the end of it, you should have a long list of stuff that you need to go over. And then start going over it systematically. If you end up with a massively long list of like 200 topics, that's still okay. You can just take it one day at a time. So even if you have 200 topics, just do 2 to 3 topics a day and you'd be done within 100 days, which is like 3 months. That's not that bad considering we're only in December right now. The second point that I wanted to make is to begin making revision resources now. And by that, I mean things like flashcards, because by the time you get to your GCSE period, and around May, June time, you want to be going over those revision resources, because I've seen it firsthand. Some of my students that I've had last year who were doing their GCSEs, around the GCSE time, they didn't really have much revision resources to work with. So you don't want to be in that position. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to be actually doing flashcards, not making them. So start making them now. How I'd recommend you do it is, when you're doing your revision and going over your topics and you're filling in the content gaps, instead of making notes, make flashcards as if the flashcards are your notes, because they technically are. For example, let's say you're making a note about the mitochondria, and you, instead of writing as a note, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, write on your flashcard as the question, what is the mitochondria? And the answer would be the powerhouse of the cell, does aerobic respiration, etc., etc. So that is an example. Instead of making notes, make flashcards as if the flashcards are your notes. And there are 2 in 1. If you want to go over them as if they're your notes, you can literally read through them like they're notes, but they're also a revision resource. Do you get what I mean? So start making them now so you can start using them later on when you actually need to start using them. My second bit of advice is to it's my third one, isn't it? My third bit of advice is to start making and setting up a passive revision method. What I mean by that is, you have a lot of trapped time during the day. For example, when you're going to school on the school bus, when you're walking to school, or like when you're doing chores, like periods of your day where you're not directly doing things and you could be doing something else. So what you can do is, the flashcards that you make, or if you've been writing notes before, the notes that you've made, record yourself reading them. Most phones have a built-in voice recorder app. If not, you can download one for free from the App Store. Just record yourself reading your notes and then title it, obviously. Title each recording based on the topic so you know which one is which. And then when you're like doing chores, or when you're going to school, coming back from school, you can plug in your headphones and listen to them. And that is a way to just passively get some extra bit of revision into your head in those trapped time periods during your day. It's not a necessity, you don't have to do that, but it is a really good way to just start working some of the information into your head, especially if you haven't been doing any active revision so far. I did that for my A-levels, and what I found is, because I was listening to those recordings so often, they became ingrained in my head, to the point that when I was doing my actual psychology A-level exam, it was as if I could hear my voice in my head, like the voice recording reading out my notes to me, and I was literally writing down what I could hear in my head from the voice recording, because I listened to it so much. I could literally play it mentally in my head. That's how it worked for me. So I do recommend doing that. It's a good technique. Next up, I recommend creating a spreadsheet for each of your exams, to track the topics and then track like your progress for each one. So what you can do, this is how I did it during my exams, is I got the specification and I listed out all the topics in the specification, and then I color coded each one red, amber, or green. Red obviously means I don't know that topic, amber means I know it, okay, but I could go over it a bit more, and green is I know it very well. And then what was happening is, as I was doing my revision, I was focusing on the red ones, and then I was slowly turning them into like a sea of green. So by turning your topics into green topics, that helps to motivate you, but also obviously it helps you to track your revision, so you know what to work on and what you can maybe put off for a bit because you already know it. So it's an effective way to schedule your revision, so you're studying smarter and you're studying more efficiently. Some of you may know Study with Kate on TikTok. She does this thing called the spreadsheet roulette, I think it's called. I haven't actually tried it myself, but I'm pretty sure it works in a similar way. And she has this wheel spinner thing where you spin the wheel and then it lands on a topic, and then I think you revise that one. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but it's worth looking into. Next up, make sure you're balancing your content revision with some light past paper practice. At this point, you don't need to be doing loads and loads of past papers, but like an exam question a day would be good, just because it would build up your exam technique. Now for maths, what I was doing during my GCSEs when I was in year 11 is I was doing a maths past paper every single day. And I was doing that while I was watching my TV shows because I would find it very boring because it requires different parts of your brain. But anyway, that's a topic for another video. I'm not going to get into too much detail with that now. But yeah, doing at least one exam question a day will help you to slowly build up your exam technique at this stage, and then you can build it up as you get closer to exam season, because it's very important to know exam technique. Like, I give the analogy of driving a car normally. Like, you know, when you're driving a car, learning to drive, you can learn all the theory you want, you can like know the entire highway code and all the rules of the road off by heart. That's not going to actually help you drive, is it? That's not going to get you your license. You need to actually get in the car and actually physically drive. It's the same thing with this. Like, you can learn all the content, you can learn the entire specification and know it all at the back of your hand, but you need to know how to actually apply your knowledge to exam questions, especially those subjects where the examiners are very picky with keywords. For example, science is notorious for that. And my last bit of advice tying into that is create a tracker list of things that you're getting wrong. When you're doing your past papers and when you're marking your past papers, have a look at stuff that you're making mistakes on and make a note of it on like a Google Doc or a notepad or something. And then what should happen over time is you should end up building a list of these things that you're making mistakes on, and then you can read through that list of mistakes every day or every week. That was what I did when I was revising for my entrance exam for medicine, and that really helped me because it helped me to ingrain those mistakes in my head. And you know, you're literally learning from mistakes, you're seeing those mistakes, you're reading through them every day, so you're very unlikely to make those same mistakes again. I will be uploading advice videos for each subject specifically and my advice for each one, so if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. And yeah, that's all my advice. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments or you can email me. My email is in my channel bio and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, good luck with your exams, you got this, and yeah, bye guys.